Recording in progress. Now we're official. All right. So, everybody, thank you for being here. I love you guys. You really make my week like so much more exciting. I am really, really excited. I think I requested this presentation, to be honest with you. A lot of people were asking about the numbers, but I remember just saying, you guys have to just come on and give everybody the scoop. So Rachelle and Rob Day, for those of you who don't know, joined Fortune Builders right in the midst of COVID. Luckily found out about our group though, because you guys have been like hardcore. At least Rachelle is here every week participating and meeting and networking. Rob, you text me once in a while to say, get on a call, you remind me. Thanks. I appreciate it. But no, I love your energy. I love how quickly you guys jumped in and got your first deal and got a big deal. I mean, it was not a small undertaking, even though your initial, goal was just to do a master bedroom suite addition. You ended up knocking it down and doing a new build. So I would love for you guys to, before you jump right into the numbers, to just kind of backtrack and bring us like how that all came up. What was that process like for you? Because I remember introducing you to someone at one of the meetups who said, I know this great builder, but kind of just from your perspective, what was the thought process and how did you get from doing an addition and remodel to scrapping and doing a new build?
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to screen share. I can kind of show you guys what it used to be before we get into that, and I can tell you a little bit of that backstory.
Well, you can talk and I'll run the
okay, you can be
thing.
my guy.
He'll be your guy. I just turned on screen sharing, so you should be able to do it.
Working?
Oh, there we go. We'll do that, I think.
There you go. Something's about to pop up. There you go.
Hopefully it's the right stuff you're seeing. See if this works.
There we go.
Yes.
Okay, I don't know.
Oh, I started the wrong slide. Jeez. Okay, there we go.
Okay, so we can get rid of that, right? Or
no, this is the
okay, so if you guys remember this beauty, I think she was like, I don't know, I forget how old she was, but she was an oldie. She had some safes in the floor and everything. It was fun. I found this off MLS. So I started with Fortune Builders educating in January of 20, and started putting in offers that summer, and just one right after another. And we got a call that we were in backup. So I was excited, but trying to not get too excited. And it worked out. I got a call. This was actually one that an investor was putting on the MLS because he was offloading it. He had several, he had about 7. And he said, if I get more than 7, I lose my mind. So he's like, he just decided to go with this one. So I was fortunate enough to get it. It was a probate. So we couldn't change anything, not a dollar, not the title company, not the closing date, nothing. Everything had to remain the same. So closed on it. And
well, hold on a minute. Hold on. So this is where you're going to see some discrepancies. I'll do the fact checking on this story. So anyway, we were on this was going down while we were in Georgia, visiting friends. We had a nice lake house and Rachelle was spending time inside. But the fact that, what matters though, is you close on this really quick. So she found the property while we were out of town. They said you have 7 days to close on this property. Because
they could not change the date or anything, or it would go back into probate court and take months. And the family was like, we're done. And so I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to make this happen. And so my lender out in California is like, I can't close in 7 days. And so my contractor that was going to do the renovation when I finally found a property, because I kind of found my contractor before, was actually a friend of mine's husband. He said, I got someone that you can call. I think he'll take care of you. I know him well. And I called him and he said, as long as so-and-so's doing it, okay, we'll close. And so it was very harried, you know,
It
but
was, I think
we jumped in.
yeah, some of the key takeaways that I think through this whole project was, I feel like we were lucky through the whole thing and very fortunate. And some of the takeaways would be, anybody that's on this call, you got to make sure you're networking, and if it's through the steps, if Rachelle didn't know Dan wouldn't have known the lender, all these things happening, the fact that she was already leaning into the huddle group, all these things started to play out. So I think the networking, showing up, I only show up, I know when there's beer, I'm being accused of, I think, Marie, but I think it's important to show up to things. It really is, and get involved. And even on those nights where you don't want to go, or those meetings you don't want to take, I think it leads. So this was the first, in my opinion, of this project. This was like, the first thing was like, holy crap, we found something. Holy crap, we got to close in this amount of time.
For our first one.
Yeah. And so there was bits and pieces through this project that we feel very fortunate,
yes,
along the way. And there was a lot of that involved.
I knew it gave me some comfort when I knew that my contractor's like, how did you find this? And I said, off the MLS. And he's like, shit. And then
well, even the lender was like that.
And the lender
knew the house.
Yeah, he drove by it, he said, every day. And he said, the yellow house? And I said, yeah. And he says, well, if you don't buy it, I'm going to. And I was like, okay, so maybe we got, that gave me a boost of confidence being that first one.
Yeah.
And so anyway, we had gone through what we were going to do with it. And we really wanted to take the carport that was enclosed and make it a true 2-car garage, and add a true laundry room, because it was an outdoor laundry room that you can't see, but it's off to the side. And then we wanted to extend out the back, just right behind the garage. We just wanted to extend and put on a master suite and bathroom, laundry, all of that. And we were going to do like a rooftop deck to see the sunset and everything, because it was a great location for that.
I think some of the other things that Rachelle wanted to incorporate, and it started to get very expensive, which is raise the ceiling. So to raise the ceiling, we would have had to take out, a part of the roof. And it seemed like that had to happen for this price point or this area, is you had to have that taller ceiling in there.
Yeah.
So.
And when my contractor said,
real quick, in the background, you can see that the new build off to the right, you can see the difference in the height of the roof line compared to this guy when you started, right?
Yep.
So that was a good point.
And he said, we can't really, we cannot raise the roof line, or we are going to lose all of our profit. And he said, and there is no way to get a true 2-car garage. It is going to be a 2-car garage, but very small vehicles will only be able to sit in there. And the more, we were just going to try to make it as good as we could get it. And then Marie asked if we could do the huddle there. And I'm like, sure, the grass is up to my knees, so we need to get it mowed. And so we mowed the grass and had the huddle there. And this wonderfully sweet older gentleman came. I'd never seen him before. And I think that Michelle knew him. I think her husband maybe had crossed paths, if I remember right. But he was brand new to Fortune Builders. And I think that was the first huddle he had ever come to. I really kind of feel like he was like my little angel, Step 2, right? We found the property, found the lending really quick. And then he showed up. The fact that we were engaged in the huddle, all of those things, I feel like we're starting to add up and come together for this project. Yeah. And he kind of pulled me aside and he said, have you ever thought about doing a new build? Would you consider? And I said, like getting rid of it, like scraping it and doing a new build? And he's like, yeah. And I'm like, no, why would I do that? I'm like, this old girl has really good bones and the rooms were big and
she had big hips. She was good, solid foundation.
You better be careful.
Oh, sorry.
No, keep going, Rob. I like the way you're
Thank God he likes his girls meaty. No. So anyway, but he's like, well, I have a contact that I've known for many years. He does very good work. He only works in this area. I've known him for a long time. I think it would be in your best interest to, he kind of pushed a little bit, and I'm so glad that he did, because I'm like, okay, well, I think we exchanged numbers or whatever. And he said, let me try to connect you and see if he's even willing to sit down and have a meeting with you. And I said, okay. And so,
but the reactions were, didn't come to the huddle that night. I was out of town at my day job. And I remember Rachelle calling me that night and running this by me, and also sharing Marie's reaction when she heard this, which was like, are you freaking kidding me? Why would you do this? Because the house did have good bones.
Yeah.
It had great bones. It was a solid house. So we did have the meeting very shortly after that huddle. Yes. And it was a very quick meeting.
Yeah,
I'm glad my reaction didn't stop you from doing a new build.
Well, we decided that making a contact like that of someone who is in the area, is a builder, maybe we would use him later, or it would just be a good contact to make, or maybe he would know other lenders, or who knows. That's what we just decided to go and make the connect. And so we sat down with him, and he said, I like you. I decide in about, I don't know, like 7 or 9 seconds or whatever, if I like someone, and I like you. And I'm like, okay, good. I'm glad I passed the test,
And I was even there too, so I didn't screw it up.
Yeah, I don't know how. No, no, but so he said, let's meet again and let's go take a look at it. What are you doing?
The next day, he wanted to get
He's like,
together.
What are you doing tomorrow? 6 a.m. I'm like, sleeping. So anyway, we met him, and I think we spent an hour and a half
at least touring the houses he was working on.
Yeah.
And he gave us a tour. We went into some homes, in various stages of construction, and they were spec homes that his crew was working on.
So we just felt that we were not quite solid on what we were going to do yet. And I had my plan, and now I was getting off track, and I was very worried about that. And I was uncomfortable with that, of course. So anyway, the numbers of when our original exit strategy was for the renovation. Obviously, you all know we decided to do the new build. And the reasons we decided to do the new build is we ran the numbers, both renovation and new build, and we're going to share both side by side. But in the beginning, we did the purchase price of $550, could not, and he even told us, you overpaid for this. This was, of course, back then. Now I'd love to get something for $550, but in that area. But anyway, so the repair costs for what we were trying to do, we're going to be about 153 on a very.
And that number kept going up. That was the other piece. That was
without my ceilings.
Yeah. Once Rachelle started adding stuff to it where she really wanted it to be, it was over 200, maybe even close to 240.
Yeah, it was 240,
to really do this project the way that she felt like she wanted to do, which again, remember, we hadn't done a project before, and maybe maybe we were going to over renovate it. That was a risk, right? Do we over renovate it? And then the other risk is, what didn't we include in here, which was we didn't scope the sewer, and there were some other things that we would have done, but the numbers were going up and up and up. This was almost a best case scenario. If we kept it within this is what the numbers would look like. And honestly, that's not a bad profit, but this was our first one. So there was some risk there. They were higher numbers.
Yeah, it wasn't just like a 45, 55 type of, renovation budget. We were like, okay, we're going to be sinking some money into this and hoping that it's going to be enough.
And hope is not a strategy.
Yeah. So we were uncomfortable with what we were going to have for our final product. So we decided to do the new build because we wanted to leverage the expertise of the builder. He felt that the lot being north-south, yes, it was on Camelback, but we had a service street. He had some inside information that there was a big development going on next door that was going to probably be raising the wall and doing some things, bringing down the electrical lines in the front, like doing some things in a gate. So there were some things that we're adding on to the benefits, I guess, of doing the new build.
And there was, again, risk there because we thought, part of this process for us was it almost wasn't about how much money we made on it. If we'd made $5,000, it would have been a great education for us. We just needed to get in the game.
Yeah.
And that was what we decided. It didn't matter what the percentage was for the ROI. If we could just get in the game and learn, let's learn what the material costs were and the process and just get our feet wet with it. So
No, and I love that, guys. I just want to point out that there's so many people in this that join our group or other groups, and they spend all this money and get educated and never take that first step.
Yeah.
So I do really want to, compliment you guys on just how quickly you were willing to jump in and learn and move forward, because that's the biggest thing, is taking that first step.
We didn't want to lose money, but I didn't care so much. But again, we were very fortunate that I had Rob's income to float the house and float the kids and float, so don't think that I did not look at all of that and realize that, that was a huge,
there was risk through the whole thing. But again, we all have to get comfortable with risk, right? So if we go through the numbers, we decided to tear it down and start fresh. And when we first started off, if you see the left column here, the pre-project cost, we were thinking if we could do this, it was a 3101 was the square feet of the house. And we figured if we could sell it for 1.25, we would hold it for 12 months. Our purchase price, you see, was $550. We originally, when this first started, right, COVID wasn't fully in, prices weren't really going up quite yet, but they started to. We thought $120 a square foot. That's what our builder told us. And then prices started to rise. But you can see there, based on the construction costs, $372,000. Financing costs that we plugged in were $100,000. We were paying, we actually went through two lenders. So the first lender we got out of to go into the builder. So our builder was also our lender. And that was a 12%. We were at 12% on this thing. So we had to factor that in, $100,000. Holding costs, $4,800. That was taxes and insurance and utilities. We didn't have a whole lot for utilities because the house wasn't there for a big portion of this. Buying transaction costs were around $34,000. Selling transaction costs, we figured about 51. So that was pre construction. So we're looking at total expenses of $1.1 million, which would have given us a profit roughly of 136. That was if we got the 125, which we felt like we were really pushing back. I mean, at that time. So the way it all shook out is we actually were able to sell it for 1.55, which exceeded our expectations by a lot. So we sold it for about $500 a square foot. Our hold time was actually 14 months because we sat for a couple of months trying to figure out what were we going to do. And because we weren't ready, this came to us so quickly. It's not like we had time to plan. It was in our lap, and we were paying on it in August. So we bought it in August. We'll go through a timeline. It took us about 14 months. We sold it in October. Purchase price again, $550. The construction cost actually ended up being about $525,000. Yeah. So considerably higher than where we thought. The financing costs actually were only $68,000. The reason for that is the $100,000 assumes you're borrowing all the money day one, and that's not what happened. We took draws through this, and you can see the construction costs, the draws were coming little by little, but the actual financing costs were almost $69,000. Holding costs, $6,800. Buying transaction costs were actually $15,000. Not sure how we were so far off there. And then our selling transaction costs were $95,000. So the reason those were so high, there was $93,000 in real estate commission on this deal. So we went in there with the agent and we scaled the commission. We started at a very low rate, and as the sell price went up, they got a higher piece. And I'll tell you, getting 1.5 1.5 for it. We listed it for 1.495, and again, exceeded our expectations. We got lucky one
Rob,
more
can you,
time.
sorry, Rob, can you explain what was that breakdown with your realtor? Can you
Yes,
share
I
that?
have that.
Yeah, so it was a 3% to the realtor who came to the deal, and then we started scaling it at 1%, and we went up for every $40,000, I think it was, that agent went over the predetermined price. It wasn't the 1,495. They had to get to the 1,495 to earn all 3 points.
They had to get over it.
So,
but yes,
we scale it a half a point for every $40,000. And I've got the scale. I've put it on a Excel spreadsheet, which I can share with people, just kind of a calculator that we gave to the agent and said, this is how it's going to work. And the agent signed off on it. So, you know, the nice thing is that selling transaction fee would have been less. They would have got less as we were getting less. They got more as we got more. So it was, in our opinion, it was fair. He thought it was fair. The real estate agent was somewhat tied to our builder. That was the other thing, right? We probably would have gone with a different agent, but this is what we were in, and we felt like he brought us along. He mentored us. There was a lot of learning here. So we thought, let's just go all the way through with him and see that out. So you can see the profit we made on it was $287,000 is what we ended up with. And it was a pretty unbelievable number that we ended up with, thinking that we only wanted to see a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change real quick, try and do this. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment, and I'm going to change screens so you guys can actually see the breakdown of how these construction numbers came. So hopefully.
Oh, I thought you just wanted to see everybody's faces, you know, better.
Oh,
So
yeah.
you can see it. You can see all the jaws drop when you say, you know, we profited over $200,000.
Yeah, well,
on our first
as
deal.
everybody knows, there were costs with getting into fortune builders and all that stuff. I mean, there was a lot that it didn't come to us. I mean, and actually we rolled it into another property. Rachelle sold it in on a Friday and picked up a new one on a Tuesday. So this shows what we spent. Okay. And you can see here, hopefully you're looking at the right, can you see this summary by vendor?
The spreadsheet. Yep.
Okay. So I highlighted the big numbers. Okay. So lumber alone, $54,000 in lumber. That's $17 a square foot that we paid. Now lumber has come down since we made this purchase, but that was a pretty big number. Plumbing, that included them coming in and laying all the foundation. I mean, this was from the ground up plumbing work that had to be done. So $23,000 there. I got to have your portage on, $1,400. HVAC was $1,700 or $17,000. That included 2 HVAC units. So one thing that we learned is when you have I think it's a 6-burner unit, you have to have a ventilation duct that brings air in so that the house is doesn't have a negative air pressure in it, if that makes sense. Your house is really airtight. I'm getting too deep in this, but anyway, that was something
that had to do with your stove.
The stove, because it was a 6-burner, it was wide and the vent going out, right? So you had to have a bigger vent. So that means it was sucking more out. So it had to have that circulation in.
To be able
And
to
our builder was, we were there with the HVAC guy and he's like, hey, yeah, after we get done with this, we can close this off. And he said, you're not going to do that on my project if my name's tied to it.
Not on my license, he said.
So electric, we paid $18,000. And again, I can send this to people if you want to know the cost per square foot, but these numbers hopefully are coming down now because we did hit a peak with materials for a lot of them.
And we'll share on the next one because we're hopefully, going to be done in less than 12 months. And so we'll just be able to compare.
Yeah, we want to track it, right? It's KPIs. And I would love, as we go through this, it would be great to see other people's cost per square foot, right? I mean, share as much as you like, but this is how we're going to help each other out and learn as we go through this process. If you're doing it and you can say, well, how much did you pay. Well, it was at the end of the day, I'm going to show you, it was about $166 a square foot to build the house. So plumbing and fixtures, $25,000. Concrete, $31,000 for concrete. Are you freaking kidding me? Framing labor, that was a big one. $20,000, almost $21,000 there. In case anybody wants to know what fireplaces cost, it was $3,100, more than I would have thought. Drywall, $15,000 for drywall. Cabinets and doors, all of that type of stuff, $34,000 there. And I forget the name of the cabinets we used.
Solid
was the cabinet builder.
And it's spelled with 2 L's, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or 2 D's, one or the other. I don't know. Again, we'll get that to you. Windows, $17,000 on windows. Doors and trim, the install there. Almost $17,000 for that work. And if everybody remembers, there was wainscoting in there. They were taller doors. So there was a lot that went in there. Tile contractor, $22,000. Had no idea that it would be that much. Our tile was only $9,100. And actually that number was a little bit less. I didn't update it.
Yeah, that was actually about $1,900 less, I believe.
We had tile left over that we took back. Brick.
I'm gonna say something real quick. Note to self, when you finally close, right? And like you literally leave the closing and you should be like going out to a nice dinner or a drink or something. Oh no, my mom's in town and Rob and I are schlepping tile into a trailer, taking it back to Floor and Decor, returning it. And we were tired. It was late. And I'm like,
but we got a good Burger King celebration dinner.
And we had to go through Burger King because we were starving. I'm like, oh my gosh, we are so not doing this the right way. But you know what?
That's okay. That's $1,900 worth of flooring. You can have Burger King, and you know what? Let's go out on another night. It's fine.
Right. That's what we decided.
Hey, a good Burger King chicken sandwich. I hadn't had that size in high school. Okay, painting, $16,000. Hardwood floors, $6,700. And again, I've got this cost per square foot over here. You can see that. Roof was about $11,000. The installation for the hardwood floors was $7,500. The pavers out front, $5,100. That they were in the back patio too. And as I go through these are actually in chronological order. So what I was doing is, as we got invoices from our contractor, I would load these into this tracking spreadsheet because I wanted to know. So this is actually happening in order of the project. You can see countertops, paver install. There was some miscellaneous stuff that Rachelle bought, mirrors and some hardware and stuff like that. Taxes, $24,000. We paid taxes to our contractor as we went through this stuff. And then there, you can see here, $160 a square foot. That's actual construction costs, okay? For almost $500,000 right there. And then there was some other stuff that had to happen, which we call getting ready cost. These are the costs that we did really before the project even happened. So you can see $200 for the Southwest Gas for the temporary abandonment. They had to cap the gas. Engineering here, this is for grading and drainage. There was actually $2,100. There's 2 invoices. They split it up, but they did a deposit. This is soil testing, $1,100 for soil testing. All stuff never would have guessed. Land survey, $1,500. Demolition, $13,000 to tear that house down. That was actually less than I would have expected. I thought it would have been a lot more. Plan review, $300. Altitude design, that was our architect. So they had to modify a spec home to fit that lot. On that lot, we could only build out, was it 60% of the lot we could cover? Yes. So that's how we had to keep 10 feet away from the property line, left and right of the house. And so we had to modify that. So $5,100 for the architect.
$5,100 also includes the permits. So
actually it doesn't. I broke them out.
Oh,
no, I broke them out. Okay. I wanted to break it out to show. So sewer residential, water residential, have no idea what DOF is. I just got it off of his, if anyone knows, tell me. Single family residence permit, $2,800 there. Inspection for $150. Water meter, $700 to disconnect and come back and reconnect the water meter. So the other project costs, the getting ready costs, were about $28,000 there. That took us to a total of right around 526, almost $170 a square foot with everything all in to build the house out. And remember, in the beginning, we were thinking it was going to be closer to $120 a square foot. So it was considerably more. There's a one of the, I don't think I have in here. I don't. So our contractor, I think our contractor fees were about $50,000,
They were
47, somewhere around there.
I think there were 42. We gave him a bit of a bonus because we felt that he just pushed everything along. He ran, it was a beautiful project. He did a great job with the crews. And we felt very grateful to have been able to work with such a seasoned and sophisticated builder. And I probably only get another year or so out of him because he's ready to retire. So
Okay, so that, any questions so far from anybody?
Normal to pay taxes like that
what was that?
on your builder, 24,000 taxes? Is that normal?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the taxes he was passing along when he bought materials. So as he bought materials, every invoice would have a tax line item. So he would break it out. So the tax part
For all the
was coming because he really, which I love that he was breaking it out that way, is not just having one lump sum. He broke the taxes out every single time on every invoice he gave to us. And
Yeah,
it's
but
actually,
for taxes, shouldn't he have not paid much on taxes? Because like when you go to Home Depot and you are a contractor and you like fill out your thing, they don't charge them taxes.
Correct, which is why they charge Rob and Rachelle taxes.
probably.
Like taxes have to
Oh.
get paid, they just get pushed down the line. So he
Yeah.
got his materials tax-free, but those taxes have to get paid.
Yeah,
Damn, that's a lot in taxes.
So
it is. A lot.
I see that the water meter, you said just for coming to connect the water meter and disconnect or something that just was $700 just for that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting, very
gotta
interesting.
pay for everything.
Yeah,
Am I still
Yeah,
on the right
Rob, I
screen?
really like that part of the spreadsheet because that's stuff that would go probably, a lot of people wouldn't take all of that into consideration.
Well, they're getting
It'll
rid
help on our
of
deal
costs.
analyzer. Yeah, we'll have to put the new numbers in the deal analyzer,
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
love the simplicity of this too. It's not at all. It's not-
complicated. It's not complicated. I don't see it complicated. Who did that, Rob? Did you did that or the contractor gave you that?
Yeah, I mean, I put it all together because I I love spreadsheets, but I'd like to know how everything adds up. I've got to have the formulas working because I want to understand it. So, and listen, we used the deal analyzer as we went through this. It gave us a target because we were able, even for a new build, what we did is we took in the your rehab estimator, right? I forget what it's called, but we used
Repair
that at the
estimator.
repair estimator. All we did is the very end of it where you can put in miscellaneous stuff. There's a couple of line items at the bottom. I just put in a lump sum number there and it carries over. So that helped us at least figure out where we thought it was going to be, because you still put in your finance costs and all the other costs that come with buying and selling a home. The only thing was different is that repair cost. I just put in a lump sum based on what we thought it was going to be. Now,
Yes.
and you can still put in your ARV in there and the numbers still panned out. So, but I just needed a tracking method so I could see. And at the end of the day, I wanted to know how much was lumber and concrete and all this other stuff, so that if we were able to go do another one, I could compare it. If you do enough projects, you get to a point where you can see a trend line. Is the trend going up in cost, or is it going up, down, or up in cost? And I think it's the same thing as all of you are doing your projects, whether the rehabs, new builds, whatever it is. I think this is where we could help one another, is sharing what's your cost per square foot, right? And what does this look like? Or even if, you guys get into something and you're like, how much did it cost to tear down the house? We have some numbers we can share. And as we collect those numbers over time, we will get better at even not having to look at it. Like our contractor can go in, he could ballpark this without even putting a spreadsheet together. He just knows, right? It becomes intuitive. So the more we share with each other, these costs, it hopefully helps all of us, right, down the road. Because I'll tell you, maybe you
You're
didn't do a
talking
new
like a
build.
pro. Oh my goodness.
What's that?
So Rob, we can get this because like right now, I'm basing like my house off of your numbers with talking to Rachelle. Like I did $150 a square foot on what I'm going to be doing.
Yep.
So, and I think it will come down from there.
Yeah.
And unfortunately my
totally.
holding costs are at bay because I'm not I'm just waiting, but this would be great. So if we, so I see what's, like I already got my price on windows and, there come some custom windows, but it's about in line with that. So that's cool to know.
Yeah, it
like,
just
what
lets
could
you
be
know,
happening.
like, and I will say this, these guys have been working with some of these trades for many years. And so it's a kind of a double-edged sword. They have good prices with these people because they use the same trades over and over, and they have built that relationship, but they also get,
well, they have a economy of scale on the labor part of it as well, right? Because they're generally doing, 5 to 7 projects in the area that they're managing at one time. So it's like an assembly
At
line for a
least.
house.
Yeah.
So they move from one house to the next house.
yeah.
And so there are some cost efficiencies in here that if you didn't have a contractor that was doing that, you might pay a little bit more for labor. So, I think that's something to consider as well. And I think we will too. Again, if you guys shared what your labor costs with someone who's not doing an assembly line, what do they look like?
What's the difference? Yeah.
And maybe that helps all of us go negotiate better when we're buying product or using contractors. You're not guessing. We're using each other's knowledge to hold our suppliers and our trades accountable to certain numbers.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for sharing. This is great info. And I was here a little bit late, but I don't know if you guys went over like timeframes. Like I know you held it for 14 months, but like how long did it take you to get the permit? And then how long was demolition? And then how long from when they started building to the end?
I gotta find the spreadsheet that has that. Hold on. I got too many windows going on.
I did a pretty detailed, probably much more detailed than you guys care to know, but when I first started this journey, I really wanted to know what happens in what order. And I also wanted to know like how much time should I be expecting to wait. I do think that we waited much longer than we should have for permits because of COVID. And in general, our project really probably should have, my builder said that he used to build this house in 4 months. And then he said it went up to about 6 months. And now it's up to about 9 or 10 months. So if we were ready and if we had everything lined up, like I'm hoping to be for this next one, we should be under 12 months. I'm hoping for 10, but again, that also has to be in how efficient I am and how ready I am and all of that. So it'll be interesting to see on this next one how much we can shave off that time.
So you can go.
But Rachelle, you might not have necessarily gotten your price because that's exactly what I mean,
know.
4 months earlier,
Yeah.
6 months earlier.
Right.
I mean, that's what happened with that house. I mean, we wouldn't have gotten that price. And now they might level off and not necessarily go down, but the way it jumped from what you thought to what it ended up being, I mean, that realistically might not have been there had it been even 4 months earlier.
We
just
talked
the same if you buying that house at that cost.
Right. And also, when we talked about pre-selling, and I'm so glad that we really didn't pre-sell because I think that, yes, we paid a ton of money in realtor cost, but I do feel that waiting and doing it the way we did instead of pre-selling was probably smarter for this particular one, at least.
So you can talk through this, just the start.
Okay. Yeah. So obviously we demoed, so we purchased it August 7th. We demoed it October 20th. So that tells you how long it sat and that we didn't really, we were trying to decide we were going to renovate or were we going to do this new build. And then we had to kind of wait for things to get done regarding
So real quick, Rob, I don't know if you want to change the view, but we're viewing your presenter view, not your.
I got too many screens going on here.
I know. And it's okay with me. I don't mind. It's just, it's cute seeing all your notes there. But
well, and I did
yeah,
another
there you go.
presentation.
Perfect. It's just a little bit easier for us to see the actual, yeah. Thank you.
It's a little bit bigger. So anyway, obviously then we went the foundation and the footings.
Oh wait, did Liz and I not make this image? Do you not remember us there on demo day? You should have at least put a picture of me and Liz there on demo day. I'm just saying.
You know what? I do remember that, but they were on your camera, I think. They weren't on
mine. Oh my
God,
I'm gonna find those photos and send them to you. I want to be in future PowerPoint presentations.
I will definitely make sure that it happens.
Okay, I'm sorry. Keep going.
You know what? I want to compliment you, Rachelle, because your Facebook process was phenomenal. Like everything you posted on Facebook, I felt involved the entire time. I felt like every time I would ever ask, oh, I wonder what's going on with Rachelle's house, like you would post instantly and I would just magically see it. And it was really, really cool, like watching your Facebook progress in the process of this property. I think that that's going to be huge for your long-term marketing.
Thank you. That means a lot to me because I do not like to be on camera or video. It's as bad as it gets for me. So the fact that I have to just get over myself and say, you know what, I'm trying to just bring value to other people in the way of like, this is what's happening. And this is,
you're a nurse, you're good at it. So you're a nurse, you're good at it. You can
and I just figure if someone doesn't want to watch it, they don't have to watch it, or if they don't find value in it, whatever. But it's just about like, I would like to know the phases of it all and the stages and what comes next. And I looked online a lot for just like a timeline for a new build and I could not find it. So I just really wanted to try to document it as well as I could for, me and others that care to know. But yeah, so we definitely sat from demo. It was painstaking sitting from demo to when the foundation and footings were going to happen.
Yeah, so the demo was done in October. We didn't get the footings and foundation until we were in that time frame of February.
Right around Valentine's Day, I remember, because it was just like
that's what I got her for Valentine's Day. I got our foundation.
Right. Yeah, so they just started pouring digging the footings and laying the foundation. It was really exciting. And then I think one of my most favorite days was when they actually poured the foundation there on the 25th. It was so exciting. My builder was so awesome. He's like, you need to be down here at 5:30 a.m. or whatever. But it was such a fun day. And it was very exciting. The guys were, every single crew member and team member, from framing, from pouring the pad, from digging the footings, my electrician, like everyone, they were just wonderful to deal with. And I enjoyed being around them and I enjoyed getting to know them. I tried to remember as many names as I could and tried to really connect with them and let them know how much I appreciate them because they could not show up to work. And then I'm in a jam. And the fact that they showed up to work and they worked hard, I just wanted them to know that. So I tried to buy them lunch and I tried to just look them in the eye and say thank you and shake their hand or do whatever I could because it was COVID. But just to let them know how much I appreciated it. And it was a lot of fun, but I know it was a lot of work for them as well.
So I don't know, can you still see the presentation? I've got too many screens open.
You're driving me nuts.
You're good.
Okay.
I can't follow it. I don't know how they can
you
follow
just
it.
look up here. So you can kind of see up here, the foundation was poured, framing started.
Yes.
They moved really, really
Yes.
quick from the time that they poured. I couldn't believe, a week later, they started the framing. You can see the trusses arrived by March 5th. The trusses were there. I had the queen of the trusses sitting on top of these things, but it started to really come along. And that was the fun part, seeing the framing go up and just seeing it come together, walking through the rooms.
And I know I'm so weird, but I love the smell of lumber. So I was like, it's just so funny. And they're like, oh boy, she's weird. I'm like, I know, I love it. So.
Oh no, I walk in Home Depot in the morning and I'm like, it's that, the smell of napalm in the morning.
I love the smell of
the
old
smell of
books.
Home Depot.
Is that weird?
I love old books, and I love the smell of, grass being cut and old books and lumber and
all of them.
So
all of the above.
Foundation was poured the 16th of February, and then by April we had windows, drywall. It went really quick, and then it felt like it went really slow.
Quiet.
And it's just because, when you put lumber up and framing, it goes from nothing to a big structure like that. So it made sense. And there's a lot of little details. One of the things they did do in this property is, from insulation standpoint, they did spray and insulation, which was really cool. I wish I could have been there to see it, but if anybody knows that foam, that's what it looked like. And so, it ended up, and I'll show another, if I can find my mouse here. There it is.
You're making me dizzy.
And so this was the finished product. A lot of you were there. You saw the house. You were in the house, and this is where we ended up. And so we sold it October
8th.
8th is when we finally sold it. And we did. We lost some time in the beginning because we couldn't figure out what we were going to do. One of the things that we all know is you got to make decisions quickly. And we were, I think, because it was our first one, we didn't want to screw up and go the wrong direction. And the new build was,
Can you share that?
Yeah, I got to figure out how to get back to there it is. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to share the timeline, if I can get it. Right here is what I want to share.
And you guys might not want to know or need to know all this detail or whatever, but I literally just went through and tracked kind of what happened from when. And so you guys are welcome to just see like what they did in what order and how many days it kind of took. And the dates are pretty spot on. However, like obviously when they're doing the exterior shell and laying the wood, it probably took more than just one day. So, but you can see that it happened within those
days.
If
anybody has a suggestion on like putting this in a visual format on a calendar, we would love to know, because this is a little hard to follow, but it does get the point across. You can see there was a gap in time between the time we purchased and started really getting ready. The demo, it sat again. The demo was done in October, and then we didn't get going with the footings and everything until that February.
Yeah, it was a long winter.
But it started to really move along with the plumbing, the foundation, the framing, the exterior shell complete. The month of March was incredibly, lot of stuff going on. The exterior shell, the roof laid, plumbing and electrical planning. That was kind of fun as they went through and they were spray painting on the floors and making sure they knew where everything was.
I'm like, so what does that stand for? Like they have all their little, their little symbols for everything. And I'm like, I wanted to know everything. I'm sure I drove them nuts, but I loved that. And I wanted to know, like, why would you put that receptacle there and not here? Or, and you really go through and you think, okay, how are you going to flip on the light? Or, just little stuff that I think can really make a house great. Or if you miss the mark, it really doesn't flow well. And it was really important to me to have a house that flowed really well. And
there were some things that we learned through all of this. You can go through the timeline, but as things got done, we were like, ooh, we missed that. We should have had an ice maker in this house. We should have had a wet bar where we had the bar area. We should have had a sink there.
Just even a tiny little one.
Rachelle being a mom and me being a dad that was very involved and had to take care of all the kids all the time, where the bathtub is and the toilet, right? If you're washing the kids' hair, if you've ever done that, you want a little space to get under there. I had to do it a few times. And I'm bigger than her. So that's why maybe I didn't do it. So those little things you learn along the way. We should have had some lighting underneath the cabinets. There were little things that were like, I wish we could go back and change.
The biggest.
I know, but that
thing-
happens every time. And
Yes.
the thing is, it's also going to be your price point
Yes.
on your house.
Yes.
Because on that recent house, there was questions why I didn't do stuff. I'm like, well, I didn't know I was going to sell it for almost $1 million.
Yeah,
Right.
That wasn't even in the realm. So I
Well,
wouldn't have
another
done
thing
this and
is,
that.
you know, Liz, another thing is you don't have to do it. We did
Yeah.
not have to do any of that. And we had 5 offers and like they were all fighting over it. And
Right.
I didn't need to spend the money on.
Those are the sizzle features you need when the market isn't selling it for
Right.
you. I mean, you know,
But
when
right
it's
now,
not.
we don't need it. There is
Yeah.
one thing that I will not bend on for
It's
the
the
next one.
iRobot docking station, right?
No.
Oh.
The builders do not, for some reason, and I've talked to others that have built, and it seems like it's all the same.
Oh, I know.
They do not want to put in a mailbox. I don't know why, but they are putting in a mailbox next time because my poor buyers are the nicest people. And she's like, the only thing we wished was, you know, and why you're going to spend $1.5 million on a house and not get a damn mailbox?
That was
Seriously?
a big mess. That was a big
So
mess.
I refuse. We're going to make a column next time, just like we did for the fence and to separate the little front patio. We're going to just do a mailbox and do it right. And I don't care if it costs $500 out of my pocket. I just don't feel right about giving someone a home that doesn't have a mailbox. I mean,
well, I
if I
have
can-
a home right now that I'm going to be selling that has no windows on the front of the house, but because I thought I was going to keep it as an Airbnb, who needs a freaking window on the front of the house?
Well,
and Nia just handed out flyers for an open house and everyone's like, oh, the house with no windows. So that's what we're known for now, is the house with no windows, guys.
Someone might actually like that. Who knows? You know, they don't like
Gives you
keeping
privacy.
Yes.
I'm going to advertise it as a privacy-centered home.
Well, there you
Well,
go.
and
I
the thing
love
is,
it.
you don't realize, walking up to it, there's no windows. Once you get inside, it's very, very, very light and bright. So you don't realize it.
Yeah.
It's just, there's a wall in the middle of where the window would have been. So
do a
there's
lot
still
of
windows.
do a lot of greenery and vines and soften it all up, and no one will even notice.
Just
I know, I
look
said,
at it as
we gotta-
you want to walk nude through the house. This is the house for you.
Marie,
Yes.
No,
The new
tomorrow
door
I'm going
has
to
a
the
window.
at-home store and I want to buy one of those big like metal suns and just put it on the
Yeah,
front of the house.
That's what
like
we
it's
did.
like-
That's what we did on one of our houses. We just got the biggest thing we could stick
Yeah.
up there and
Marie,
put it on
your
the wall.
front door has a window.
That's true. The front door has a window and side light.
Good.
So if we go,
technically it has windows.
if we go through the timeline again, we can share this with you guys. You can just kind of see it. It's Rachelle actually went through and put a lot of detail into this, probably more than I would have put, but it tells you when things were happening. And I think for future projects, she could follow this as almost a checklist. There were some things missing that I think we need to go a little deeper on, which is when do you call to
Yes.
get, you know,
Yes.
the inspector out there, not the inspector.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, putting your permit timelines in there would be awesome too.
Yep. Yep.
Because then you're not covering something or,
Yep.
missing
And it's just
something.
even
So,
getting them out there to turn off or come disconnect the gas or disconnect the water and then get it hooked
All
up
those
again.
little triggers, we definitely want to try to systematize this as much as we can. That the checklist and stuff, the Fortune Builders, we want to kind of do something very similar, but obviously for what we need. So I need to find an integrator that's really good at setting up all that, but I'm gonna get there. So
The other thing that we didn't get in this house is we really wanted a specific fridge, a 48-inch wide fridge.
yeah,
There is none to be found. So
well, it is a 48-inch. It's just not a sub-zero.
yeah, it's not a. It just
We didn't have the again with COVID, we did not have some of the options that we would have, but regardless, we got in matching appliances. I was pretty happy about that, and the appliances are already in better shape right now. So I still am hearing though 4 months out for windows. So we actually are like ordering them like next week for the next one. So I was really fortunate with my realtor. He basically called me like a few days after we closed and had something So it was within his, I don't know, back office or whatever you call it. So, and it was off market. So it was a pocket listing. So I snatched it up, and we're going to get started on it. I had to rent it back to the homeowner, or the seller, for 60 days. We have 1 month left. So I'm trying to get everything lined up so we can be ready to rock and roll. She does know that her house is going to be demoed. And so she's fine with it. I'm fortunate. Yeah, so the good stuff. I just feel like this is a step to really make sure we all do and we focus on is I have found this huddle group to be so valuable because of the relationships and because of the resources to be able to have friends to call or text to ask questions. And I am so, so grateful for you pulling this all together, Marie, every single week. I mean, I don't even know how you do it every week, but, and all of you guys for coming and contributing, because obviously if we don't come and contribute, then our huddle does not grow and be able to be a good resource. So we are only as strong as we put our effort and contribute to.
Yeah, I can tell you just from watching this, Rachelle do this, and she has been fantastic at it. But, being a stay-at-home mom for so long and there were some confidence issues, which I think she does great in, but all of you, a lot of you on this call have helped her in many ways. So thank you, each of you. And you guys have helped me, even me. It's great to talk to each of you at the huddles when I do show up, just to hear what you're doing. And when you let us come see your properties and share with us your struggles and your challenges. And I know, we didn't make it to Wendy and Louie's, to their rehab, but they let us, made time for us to come see it. And those things where everybody just opens himself up. I remember Louie saying to me one time, there's a part where it gets really tough and you just question. And we went through some of that. Like, man, I don't know if we're ever going to find something. It's, you just got to stick with it. So we appreciate the support that all of you have given to us. That's really helped us. And we're very grateful. We're very thankful for all of you. So thank you. And then if you want to know more about us, you can use your phone right now and scan our QR code.
I told you, Marie, I said, Rob is obsessed with QR codes.
And if you scan it, I'll be able to track it. I know every time it's been scanned.
Oh my Lord.
I'm pretty sure they can get
the numbers are going up right now. Scannings are happening.
I'm gonna do it right now.
It's so dorky. But you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I'm gonna get craft shirts made for the kids and have on the back that just says scan me, because all the kids have their phones anyway. And I'm gonna have them wear them off to school.
That could be kind of creepy.
I know, but
check me out.
Check me out. Yeah, they'll be hoping they're getting something good, and then it sends them to a website they could care less about.
But you can get it tattooed on your arm. Get it tattooed, and then they can just,
Oh yeah, get all those dots tattooed on you.
Yeah.
Hey, they do it. They do it. I've seen it on people.
Until
it's
QR codes are no longer, they'll age you.
Obsolete.
Like, you got a QR code. What year are you from?
Right.
It doesn't help me. I'm already following you guys.
I love it.
Hey guys,
do you have any questions, or did we? Even if we don't have it, I can make a note and we can try to get it for you.
Yeah, I'd like to ask. First of all, say hello, Rob.
Hi, Steve. You look different from yesterday.
So Rob and Steve just came back from the ultimate entrepreneur camp. So
just wait, I'll be right back.
Yeah. How was that, guys? How was that? Give us a quick update, Steve, while Rob's running away.
Quick. Yep, real quick. So there was a lot of team building, a lot of mindset, a lot of business development and sharing of ideas. One of the highlights, of course, was the physical challenge that for somebody like myself, I was not really adequately prepared for. So I'm still feeling the results of that.
Yeah.
But there was probably about 80 people, I would guess, in the middle of Texas in a ranch. We showed up Friday afternoon around 3 o'clock and left Sunday morning around 11 or noon. A lot of things. I think we kind of understood some of the mindset things, but it was really good to see how people would apply those and have applied those. And of course, it was nice to be able to meet like-minded people. And on the business development side, I mean, there was just strategies and techniques and challenges shared. And, you know, it was a good, well-rounded session. And Rob and I had a chance to connect. I did not know he was going to be there. I didn't know I was going to be there, but I was encouraged by somebody. And so I showed up, and yeah, it was good. I'm glad I went. I'm still a little sore, but it was good.
Oh, my legs are so sore. But you know what? Here's the thing. Out of 8 teams, there's always got to be winners and losers.
Oh my gosh. You guys, I am so tired of hearing about this stupid little trophy. Look how small it is, but he's so excited.
Our team came in first place. There were 8 teams. We won. We won field day. We won all the field day activities. Man.
Okay, you guys.
Rachelle, I'll tell you, it's all about the size of the trophy. My husband still gets mad because downstairs in our pool room, I have this trophy from like winning this tournament, like first place years ago. And it's like a 2-foot tall trophy, right? He's won a world championship in Vegas and came home with like a 6-inch little thing. And he's like, how come you have that 2-foot tall trophy and I have this little thing?
That's hilarious.
Well, Rob will share a technique at some other time, but there is a special technique and a power behind that trophy. If it's handled correctly, that good things come your way. We'll just leave it at that. I did want to. I did want to say congratulations, guys. Seriously, congratulations on hitting a home run right out of it. And Rachelle, for the transition that you've made, and Rob, your confidence, your support comes through in the presentation. I wrote a couple of takeaways. You know, the importance of first of all, just said at a high level, you guys mentioned the importance of teaming and networking and building community, and Marie's done a great job of pulling this together and consistently bringing the energy each week. And I, like Rob, I'm not a consistent participant. Still trying to balance and find my way in the corporate world and transitioning. But the point is that networking and teamwork aspect is obviously critical. I also took note of the mentoring that you had with the builder, and that, of course, we hear about, but this is an example of true implementation.
Yeah.
Lessons learned. It sounds like you at least cognitively have kind of tracked some, hey, if I would have done this, or I'm kind of curious about this. I assume you have kind of kept notes about, for the next time. Here are the things we kind of.
Yeah, we have. And I think it's because it was our first one, we knew we'd walk away with that. Some of them just felt a little like we should have known better, because we've done, one of the great things is using our personal experience, seriously talking about giving kids a bath. Rachelle, immediately, she's like, the bathtub's facing the wrong way. It was too late at that point. But the next one, she's going to make sure it's bath friendly for kids. And it's those little things that, we hope will make a difference for the future homeowner, even though they may not even know. It's just
trying to build the best house, give it the best quality product that you're proud to give and be a part of. But you're right, Steve. I really feel like it's important to. We were very fortunate to have such a great mentor on this, and
there were some other things, just little things that I think we have to give up. I used to be a project manager, not on home construction, but some construction, and I'm really picky. And there were some things that I had to let go when I'd walk through the house that I just was like. And I'll say the contractor never seemed mad about it, but I would constantly find stuff. And I knew there was a point where it's like, just stop. You can't keep going. And, that's, I think, normal. But, just learning from that point of view too.
I would agree. You guys have done and put together a great presentation and a great case study from my perspective. The one thing I might recommend, and I'm just a little curious about, is the funding aspect and the draws, the periodic draws, the rate, and how you shopped around or didn't shop around, kind of the back end of that.
Sure.
There was a little bit of trust that we had to have with the builder through this process, which was So we were paying 12, the first lender we got because we just had to go. I mean, the timeline was so short
But he
to
came at,
close.
he came at a recommendation of my renovation contractor. So I felt very solid with that.
And the guy was great. If anybody wants to know him, he moved quick. Frank, wasn't his name?
Yep, Matty.
Frank Matty, he was great.
Mhm.
But when we started with the new construction, our lender used to lend to Frank. So he knew who Frank was, and we ended up just going and actually putting him in first position, closing out that first loan. And we were at 12% the whole time. The draws, once construction started, here was the beautiful thing about it. Again, we got a lot of shortcuts here where we feel like we cheated a little bit. We didn't pay the contractor because the contractor, so our lender and our contractor, you consider the GC, was working with the builder. Their relationship was already established. So every week, Scott would pay on Wednesday. He would pay the contractor, the builder, every single Wednesday. And we got a statement that was relatively simply laid out, but I was able to put it in the spreadsheet. We got a spreadsheet or a invoice every Wednesday. We didn't change money with the hands. We didn't have to pay someone to come out and see our progress. And we really got lucky on how easy this was.
But I will say this, I was very uncomfortable,
very nervous
through this because I felt that these gentlemen are older. They've been doing this for a long time. They are very seasoned. They do everything by handshake. And I can't tell you how many coaching calls I had with even different coaches because I was so nervous to just.
I'm more of a risk taker.
Trust.
Rachelle is, and I was like, look, the guy has more money than he knows what to do with. He's not going to steal our money. And we had some money in this thing. We put in, I think we put in $150,000 because we had to right up front just to get the thing closed. And we kept that in. And, I think the total financing at the end for what he put in was probably, $850 or $975,000. It was somewhere around there, the final numbers. But again, it was way easier because he was that involved. And as we went through this, the risk started, you could tell the guy wasn't gonna do anything. I mean, he totally took us under his wing. And but
see, that's an intangible. I mean, what's that worth, right?
I know.
Well, that was part of this, right? That's why we decided through this is, look, it almost didn't matter what we made. I mean, it would have been nice to make some money, but if we made $5,000, what we gained by just learning little bits and pieces along the way was extremely valuable.
Absolutely agree. Nicely stated, nicely done. I just really appreciate how you've relayed your experience, and again, congratulations for hitting home run, first time out.
Yeah, we feel very fortunate. We do, and we're happy to share and be transparent in anything that we can to just.
And it made our marriage stronger too, on top of everything else.
Okay. We'll trim that last 30 seconds.
We'll come back to that.
Now we know you're lying.
Yeah, we don't want to taint. We don't want to taint anything here.
Yeah, just going back to what you said, Steve, earlier, Rob or Rachelle, maybe you guys just kind of write out that list of lessons learned.
Okay.
That would be a good thing to share and just to be able to go back to, because, some of those little details you might, again, 6 months from now, you might forget. But all those little things that you're like, ooh, this wasn't right. This wasn't right. It's really good while it's still fresh in your head to just kind of go through those lessons learned. I know just as an engineer, right?
Yep.
As soon as we're finished on our projects, it's always like, what were the lessons learned?
Yeah.
So that we can improve that next time.
Okay.
So it would be good for you to make that list.
Yep.
Brooke, what do you want to say?
I just wanted to say thank you to Rob and Rachelle. You guys make a great team. Rob's the numbers guy and you're everything else. So you guys did great. Congratulations. And then I was just curious, do you know the percentage of profit by chance?
I told you.
Oh, I don't.
I said I really wanted to come with like the deal analyzer with it. So I will do that. I'll do that and then I'll post it or
Thank
whatever
you.
on our
Yeah.
Or
I mean,
whoever wants it, I can send
she
it.
started to do it, and I, of course,
He's like,
listen,
no.
I'm just gonna say this, okay? Well, I shouldn't go there, but Rachelle in Excel is not good. So if you guys could give her some direction how to get just a little bit of Excel training so it doesn't have to come from me, it would be great.
I'm not gonna do it.
I can help you, Rachelle.
I don't really want the help, but Rob wants me to have the help.
No, but honestly, I don't even know. I mean, quick number, like your cash on cash return is way easy to calculate because what you guys had like 150 into it and made like 280 or something.
Yep.
So
Right. Yeah.
But I guess just the whole like RO, just the return on investment in general, yeah, would be a good number to share.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I had a question, guys. You know, since Rob, I know that part where you did on the deal analyzer, just putting in the miscellaneous, your full number. How do you think it would have been any, like, did you even try it in the deal analyzer? Because instead of doing it at 170 a square foot?
Yeah, I mean, I actually played around with it yesterday. And I threw in, so I had the original deal analyzer, and I left Rachelle to finish it, and we have some challenges with Excel, as I said. Again, the easy part would be take the total cost. So if it was 503,000, or I forget what the number was, whatever that total construction cost is, that's the number I'm going to plug into the
and I can do that. I can do what we thought it was, you know, what our first deal analyzer and then what our final one
yeah,
is.
we could email out both of them.
Yeah, because that's really something that I want to do for every project, to kind of just see like where we thought we were going to be and where we really ended up. And I'm sure it's not always going to be so high on that positive side. I hope it's always on the positive side, but you know.
Well, one thing that I will give you guys kudos for, and a lot of people all of a sudden they find out how hard money works or the lending aspect of taking draws, and they're like, ooh, let me factor that in. Honestly, it's better to play it safe and just assume the 12% on the full amount the whole time. Because a lot of people do try and figure out, okay, well, I'm only getting this much in the beginning and then my first draw, and then it'll be this. It's like, guys, don't waste your time or energy even calculating that, because you know what? There's just a little contingency buffer built in. So just, you know, take that.
It was a pleasant surprise to see that, the difference, because of course it makes sense. You're not using all the money and you're not getting charged, but so we'll plug in the actual numbers, the finished numbers into the deal analyzer, and then we can email that. I guess, Marie, you could put it on the huddle thing, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Congratulations, guys, both of you. You, like Brooke said, you guys did a great team. And I remember, Rachelle, I remember that actually it was in a Zoom meeting that this guy, I don't know his name, I don't know, he was your angel. He was talking to you and he was saying that you're in good hands with the contractor guy.
Yeah.
And yes, so I remember that time. And,
yeah, he spoke very highly of him. He said he had known him for about 30 years and he kind of grew up with him. So that made me feel better, even though I didn't even know him, right? But we've talked with Ed and Sheila several times, and we've taken him out to dinner and so forth, just to get to know him and also see where we can bring value to him. Because again, it's all about how we can support and grow, you know, together and you know.
I have to say here in the group here, we have a really nice group, and thank you all of you, because all of you have contributed to me so much, and all of you guys in here. And also Roberta's not here too, but Roberta helped me too, and so I want to say thank you to Roberta too.
Yes,
thank you
Roberta's. Yeah, Roberta's.
Thank you to Liz and Mary Viginski for everything.
Yes.
Wait 1 second, because Elda, you joined late. I just want you to know that I found this from when we used to meet.
Oh my God.
Screen back in Tapestry. And you and Eddie are on here. So now that you're here, I'll let you know what your accountability was. It was create business cards and website.
Isn't
Yes, so we did create the business cards and we created a Facebook page, but we don't have the website yet.
Love
But I
it.
definitely want to get with Sean about that.
So from 2 years ago, we have some things accomplished, and I just thought that that was so funny.
It's funny. It's awesome.
But I'm,
Blast
oh,
from the
and you said
past.
Sean, so yeah, reach out to Sean.
Yes, we will.
Awesome. Any other
Hi,
questions, you guys? You guys did a great job, so thank you so much for coming on and putting that all together.
Of course.
I just want to say, Rachelle and Rob, you're an inspiration to me. I mean, you guys came in at a difficult time, and you came and visited our project. That was our first flip, and we'd got it at a difficult time. COVID made everything difficult.
Yeah.
And we were a little worried about you, it's like, but you guys did such an awesome job and truly inspirational. Thank you for sharing all this. It's making me, it's re-inspiring me.
Good. No, I think and we have to, I think, be really realistic through this whole real estate world and journey, that there's going to be those times where you feel stuck or you feel burnt out or you are just down. And I think that's where we have to kind of force ourselves to plug in, even when we kind of want to plug out, because that's going to help us push, push one another, push ourselves, and just, really like link arms and move forward together.
Absolutely. That's why, it's like I continue to join this group every week, even though I'm not even sure what I'm doing right now, but it's like, this group is so important. All of you are so important. And
yeah, I think there's, from my perspective, learning again from watching Rachelle actually be very involved in stuff, and just hearing, as the more I get involved, the more I learn. And I think, it's kind of exciting that if we can all just share this journey, if there's other stuff we're thinking about, this weekend, Steve, I don't know if you heard about it, but like mobile homes was a big topic, and it's one of those things you're kind of fearful of, but there's people who are doing it. Self-storage.
Who's doing mobile homes, by the way? I found one. I need somebody to brainstorm with. So if you know someone who did mobile home parks, please tell me who I should reach out to.
I have a great lady I can share with you. I have made a great friend that is very well versed in mobile homes.
Yeah,
because I want to buy a mobile home park, and there's things that I know that I'm not asking because I don't even know to ask. And
I'll hook you up with Michelle Brophy.
I can tell you, in a cocktail hour, just learning, people say make sure you don't get one that has its own sanitation station. That's a nightmare. Obviously city water and sewage is best, but those are the little things that just having a quick conversation with somebody can save you.
I'll write that
so I think that's
water and sewer.
I think just helping each other out, and as we find new avenues, the one thing that's really kind of fun is, especially as I get to know each of you on a personal level, is, you want to help each other out. It's not like, hey, Rachelle, don't talk to them about this thing that we're working on. We don't want anyone to know. That doesn't help any of us. So, it's a journey that we can all take together and find opportunities and share with each other, for sure.
I just want to add just one thing to that, just to actually underscore what Rob's talking about. And I think maybe Rob and I are a little similar in that we have still jobs, but to plug in like opportunities like this, or this past weekend, whenever you can connect to develop those relationships. If you think about it, we're all involved with, people make everything work in the world. And the more you can connect in a very authentic and transparent way, in a sincere and grateful manner, good things just come. Marie was sharing some of her experiences with the NLP, and James, a couple things, the note about, hey, lacking of resources is not really the problem. It's the level of resourcefulness that you need to focus on. I mean, these little tidbits really kind of prompt thoughts, and you get those in a hallway discussion or sitting around a campfire.
Yeah.
I mean, Yeah, I learned a lot, and it's just, I just want to just tag on a little bit to what Rob was saying. I appreciate Marie's efforts, and certainly a great case study, Rachelle and Rob. Thank you.
And Rachelle, before we go tonight, because we're getting sort of on time, but I know you've brought this up in the past, and I don't know if you've brought it up in front of the huddle or just in front of the ladies group, but you have a great idea on one way that we can utilize this group to get better deals and negotiate with contractors or for materials and stuff like that. So can you just share that? Because I don't want to steal all the thunder. It's your idea. Can you just share that with everyone?
Yeah, I was just thinking that if we go, to whatever place, if we like, let's say I check out Ben next door to the Camelback. He has some resources. He's a building supply wholesaler. So if I can get windows from him, let's say, and he's going to give me this amount off of it or what have you, if we all pulled together and maybe had like a huddle group that we ordered under, like the name of, huddle group or whatever.
I mean, it could even be a separate LLC. That's the purchasing group, because there are, at least in my industry, there's purchasing groups, and what you get all these individual hospitals or whatever it is, they pool their purchasing power together, and so it drives the cost down. So that's why even sharing, the details of where you buying windows and all that. If we got to figure out, okay, Bill and Brooke, you guys just finished a project. How much did you spend on windows? How much did we spend on windows? Everybody else, we could actually be spending a couple $100,000 on windows. Man, that sure should be worth a few extra points off the purchase of those windows. Right. So I think that would be helpful as we go through this journey, just to keep track of it. It'd be interesting to have a huddle group, what everybody spend on windows this year. If we just did that one thing, how much more would that be in our pocket if we just collected our purchasing power on windows?
Yeah.
Not let alone all the other stuff that goes into a project. It could be lumber. I mean, we just spent $54,000 on lumber. And I think you guys spent, Bill and Brooke, you guys did that addition with, I think you put in some trusses. What was that cost? If we started to add all this up, I could see doing an LLC, which is a purchasing co-op. That's all it is. It's just a purchasing co-op. The invoice goes in, and then it goes directly to whoever's project that is. Yeah. So
that might give us some purchasing power.
That's like kind of like what contractors have their license numbers. Like when we went to check out Granite one of these days in one of these places, first thing that they ask is, do you guys have a contractor license? So then there's a number, and then you get registered with a number, and they will give you a discount for whatever you purchase. So that is a really good idea. And I'll say, let's build something, let's plant something.
We also have an account at Dunn Edwards Paint too, if anybody needs to buy their own paint. They just use Awesome Property Solutions.
Yeah.
Pretty good discount on paint.
Yeah. That sort of thing that I think that we could, support one another. And of course, just make sure that, we do everything how we're supposed to, do. And I don't know, I think that there's ways that we can bring value in numbers that we're maybe not tapping into right now.
Yeah, no, and I just think it was such a good idea, and I wanted you to share it, and everybody just kind of think about those big items, right? So kitchen cabinets, windows, flooring. We can have sessions where maybe it's like we decide the whole month of February, the 4 weeks in a row on the huddle, we're going to interview and talk to 4 different window people, and we're going to bring them on the huddle, or we're going to go there as a group, and we're going to show up at Window Depot, and we're going to be like, what are your prices? What can you do for us? And then the next week, go to another window person, right? And say, what are your prices? What can you do for us? And we bring this purchasing power and figure out who we all want to work with, as a group. So I think that that's really powerful and a really good idea. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, well, I know Brooke and Bill really enjoyed their cabinet person, and I think someone else used them as well, or so
we do better cabinets, better home. What is that, Bill? It's better cabinets and better kitchen cabinets and home, something like that, right, Bill?
Better homes and cabinet.
Better homes and cabinets. There you go. Because Elda's working on one project right now. So, so we did get a discount because we did like 2 projects, and we had one kitchen with them, and they gave us a really good price when we did Isidro's property. So that definitely works. He gave us a really good price, and Elda is there that she got a really good price too with them. And they're very I like the day that they said we're gonna be. They're very hard to say that
they're
on time. So the day that they say they show up with the stuff, they do it. So it's very, very good.
Yeah, I think just narrowing it down, like these are the good people, right? They have look at him. He's getting it on.
My son apparently needed a workout, so I just wanted everybody to see.
Mary, it's time for the kids.
Yeah.
Mama, it's time for us now.
I know. Well, thanks for having us, guys, and thanks for your support.
Yeah, thanks for your support.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Thank you
everybody.
so much for sharing.
Thank you, Rochelle and Robert. Congratulations again.
Good job.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Marie, what's next week?
So next week we actually have a property tour. I have to get the address again because I forgot, but it was actually Tate.
Oh
yeah, Tate had a property,
that's a
so we
good
wanted to do
property.
that, and then probably the week after we'll do Palm. So
Awesome.
Palm is just about done. Mia's doing an open house tomorrow. There's just a little other touch-ups that still need to get finished, but we'll do Palm in 2 weeks.
Tate's got a really neat story. She really is, talk about taking action quick. She would be fun to have, on the huddle to just tell her story, because boy, that girl's impressive. She just jumps in. She's just not.
Doesn't overthink it, but does thinks enough.
Yeah.
Oh, she does a good job. I went and visited her property, and she had her son crawling all over her. I know I'm not seeing, I'm in the kitchen now. She had her son crawling all over her, but she was just really organized with everything.
Yeah.
Squat down.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Anyway, awesome. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Yeah,
Good job.
Bye, Mia. Bye, Elda.
Have a good
Thank you,
night,
guys.
everybody.